Let's start with my prayer. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmalitan Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye. Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna devotees, Hare Krishna all of you. Now with the divine blessings of Shri Radha Govinda, deities of Mangalore ISKCON, then the blessings of our Mahaguru, Srila Prabhupada, and the best wishes of my Shiksha Guru, Namani Sadash Prabhuji. I will start this day session today with a small kirtan, not a very big one. The meaning is there on the screen. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopi Jana Vallabha Kirivaradhari, Gopi Jana Vallabha Kirivaradhari, Yashodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana, Yashodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna all of you. Now with that we start with our lesson today with our session, the second part of chapter 1. But then I know that yesterday we were not able to complete duly. We did so many other things, so we were not able to complete duly the entire first half of the first chapter. We stopped at a particular point. So we will just pick up from that. Although it is yesterday's portion, I'll quickly go through. I'll not take much time over that. This I just told you, and we discussed up to here actually. When verse 1 is done, I have told you enough of that. I think verse 2 also has been done. So in verse 1, you know the takeaway points, what are the points, how to understand Bhagavad Gita, we know now. Now Dhritarashtra's fear, we yesterday understood, tried to study Dhritarashtra's mindset in his palace room about what's happening in the battlefield. So his concerns and his fears, of course, are concerns, and his wishes, the vicious wishes that he had in his mind. We studied all that yesterday. Regarding Dharmakshetra, we studied enough yesterday. We'll not go back today to that. Now in second verse, Dhritarashtra distinguishes Pandavas and Kurus. That also we do all our Kurus. He makes it a point to do the wicked job of squeezing a little of lime in the milk and separating the Pandus from Kurus. And he wants to look at them like that, separated. He doesn't wish them to become one. That's one of his wishes. He doesn't want a compromise on the battlefield. He wants to have a battle. He wants his children to win, whether they are deserving or not. Doesn't matter to him. He wants victory. That's all. Then we just came to the second shloka. Now this also has been done. I told you how, Duryodhana goes close to his teacher Dronacharya and tells him about Drishtadhyumna. See, this is a very intricate situation. Now, in the heart of hearts, Duryodhana is trembling actually. He's showing his dual personality. He's actually trembling inside out of fear. He knows he doesn't deserve to win also, but he has the false confidence that he's going to win. But outwardly, he's showing that he's very brave, as if nothing has happened, and victory is on his side. So now that's where we talked about Drishtadhyumna yesterday. Enough about that. I'll not go back to that again. The son of Drupada, how he was the disciple of Dronacharya, and Duryodhana tells Dronacharya, please do not, my good teacher, please do not commit the mistake you did in the past of preaching or teaching all the secrets of warfare to an enemy's son, and to be confronted by him with the very intelligent military phalanx. So what you have done is not right. Now that's why you are facing the situation today. But he does not know what an elevated Brahmana Dronacharya was. He never expected it. Of course, he doesn't mind even if his student is on the enemy side. He had done his duty properly. Nothing wrong in that. But Duryodhana's shallow knowledge, he can't understand all that. So Duryodhana has been being warned, and he says, if you by any chance commit that mistake, if you repeat the mistake, you are sure to get defeated. Then that's in the second. Then we have talked about this enough. That's over. Now we come to here, Akshohini. What is the meaning? See, when Arjuna and Duryodhana had been to Krishna asking for his help, you all know that Duryodhana wanted his Narayani's Sena, and he got it. And then Arjuna wanted Krishna, and he got it. So both got what they wanted. So then the Sena was to go to the Duryodhana. So what there are some definitions here. What is one Akshohini? I think that you can read for yourselves. The Pandavas had how many? 7 Akshohinis. That's the number of chariots. 21,870 chariots, 21,870 elephants, and then 65,610 horses, and then 9,350 foot soldiers. That's the description of an Akshohini. So such Akshohinis, Pandavas had 7 and Kauravas had 11. So they had definitely more. The commander-in-chief of the Pandavas was Drishtadhyumna, the son of Drupada. And then here on this side we have Bhishma, Kaurava side, Bhishma, Pitamaha, and Dronacharya, Karna, Shalya, and Duryodhana himself. Then there are 3 definitions of the equivalent, the strength of warriors equivalent to, like, if there are Rathi, Atirathi, and Maharathi, there are 3 definitions. Rathi means the person has got the strength of 5,000 warriors. Now, Arjuna was a Maharathi. He had actually 72,000 actually warriors. And Atirathi is actually 60,000. It's a little bit, we have to change this here. Atirathi is 60,000 and Rathi is 5,000. Atirathi is 60,000 and Maharathi is 72,000. That was so much of strength they had. So now who are the Maharathis in the Pandava side? Arjuna was the Maharathi. And on the Kaurava side, we had Bhishma, Drona, and Karna, and Ashwathama. They were the Maharathis. Okay. Of this, Ashwathama is actually a Chiranjeevi. I'll come to that little later. What is a Chiranjeevi? How many Chiranjeevis are there all over the universe? I mean, there are 7 of them actually. I'll just, you can tell me if you know. If you do not know, we'll share the information. Now that's about, and the Atirathis were under the Pandavas, Yudhishthira and Bhima, Drishtadyumna, Ghatotkacha, and Satyaki, and Yuyutsu. Who these are, we will be discussing shortly. Now Shalya, Somadatta on the Kaurava side, Shalya, Somadatta, Purish, Shrava, then Bhagadatta, Jayadratha, and Kritivarma. They were actually on the, it's a description of their strength, their army strength. Now we come to the next, between 4 and 6 shlokas. Now here, Duryodhana describing warrior and its opposing army. He goes to Dronacharya. First of all, he warns him about not behaving the same way as I did in the past with Drishtadyumna, and not repeating the same mistake. Lest they actually lose. So then he describes him about the strengths on the opposite side. Now all of them are fighting. Now all of these are Pandavas. They are very virtuous people. All of them are fighting for the rights, not for material gains. They are very strong people, spiritually, mentally, physically. They are very strong. Who are they? We have Vimarjana. Of course, these shlokas are referred. We'll go to the shlokas also shortly. So Bhima, Arjuna, Yuyodhana, Virata, Drupada, Drishtaketu, Chekitanaha, then Kashi Raja, then your Purujit, Kunti Bhoja, Shaibya. All these will be coming shortly. I'll tell you who each is actually. Then Yudhamanyu, Uttamanuja, and then sons of Subhadra, sons of Draupadi. These are the Maharathis. All of these. So they were on the Pandava side. Now we come to the Kaurava. And then he mentions all these names to Dronacharya and then tells him, see, don't think that we are any less. See, this is what, normally people who are not very strong feel. The humble, the submissive people feel they're always less. They feel they're not that strong. They don't boast of themselves. But the ones who are actually hollow, they are actually empty vessels, make the most noise. So here, Duryodhana boasts of his. He says, we are no less. We are also equally strong. He tells Dronacharya. Now, Duryodhana is in a dilemma. Whom Bhishma or Drona to represent first? He, of course, chooses Bhishma only. Now Bhavan Dronacharya named before Bhishma. Actually, Dronacharya being Brahmin is okay with Bhishma. So he continues with Bhishma only. That unanimous selection of Bhishma to lead the army. Now fighting, all of these are all people fighting for material causes. They are actually interested in material gains. And they're weak. They're very weak. Most of them are also favoring Pandavas. That's very interesting here, Now, though they look at this, they know that the right party is Pandavas, but they're helpless. They have to support Duryodhana out of obligations, many of them. So helplessly, they know that they're going to lose. They know they're going to die on the battlefield. They come there prepared to die for Duryodhana, not get a win or a victory for Duryodhana. They know it, sitting on the wall. So they are ready to lay their lives. Fate of their lives are already decided. Now Dronacharya was there. Now then Bhishma Pitamaha, Karna, Krupacharya. Now Ashwathama, Dronacharya's son, and Kritavarma is actually a Vrishni Yadu, belongs to Vrishni Yadu dynasty. Then Shalya is of course Shalya, and then others. Maternal uncle is Shalya. Then others. There are so many others. Kunti Bhoja and so. No, not Kunti Bhoja here. So many other kings of so many kingdoms. So now we'll just quickly come to these shlokas which have been laid for you. I have highlighted the important points so that we don't take much time on these shlokas we did yesterday. But then it's important to go to them because even shloka reciting, it's not just rushing through. We are not in BJ18 any longer. So we have to know But I had asked you your preference to decide, but today I think maybe the first half I'll have to do myself because we don't have enough time. We have to try to do things as rush through things in the first half. And of course, we have a lot of time for the second half, we'll do it. So we are coming to the fourth shloka here. Yes, yeah. Yes, this is the one, yeah. So, Atra Shura Maheshwasa Bhimarjuna Samayudhi Yuyudhano Viratascha Drupadascha Maharathaha. He says here in this, of course, I request you, though we don't have, I'll just do one for one shloka, others you can do yourself, because even there I think all this could probably be an extended activity to be performed compulsorily, mandatory in the Bhakti Vriksha classes. We'll take it up there because that's a very good arrangement made to study things in detail. So when you read a shloka like this, you know already have been told in BJ18, that you have to read word by word the meanings. Now what is Atra? Atra means here. Suraha, heroes. In the Maha issue, Asaha, that is mighty bowmen. Bhima Arjuna, to Bhima and Arjuna. Samaha, equal. Yudhi, in the fight. Yuyudhanaha, Yuyudhana. Virata, Cha, also, Drupada, Cha, also, Maharathaha, great fighter. Just one I'm reading, rest of it, you'll have to do it yourself, either when you're doing your self-study, because self-study is also a part of our level 2. So when you're doing that, you can do it yourself, and you'll understand better. Each shloka can be understood very well. So I'll have to go to translation without, option. So here in the Sami, he's saying, we are going to see people were as formidable as Bhima and Arjuna. Bhima and Arjuna are very, very brave. Absolutely no doubt about it. But as equal to them, almost equal to them, in excellence, are Yuyudhana, Virata, and Drupada. Virata is the king of the Matsya kingdom. Drupada is the Panchala. And Yuyudhana is actually Satyaki. Yuyudhana and Satyaki are the same. They are Yuyudhana alias Satyaki. Who was he? He was Vrishni clan of Yadavas. What happens is, when Duryodhana was promised the Akshohini Sainya by Krishna, now obviously the soldiers had to go to the Kaurava side. But then what happens, Satyaki, Yuyudhana, he knows that the Pandavas on the right side. His conscience doesn't permit him to actually continue with the Kauravas. So he actually splits out from there and he comes on to the Pandava side. But Kritavarma is another person. So Yuyudhana and Kritavarma are both actually, they belong to the Vrishni clan, Vrishni dynasty, the soldiers. So the Kritavarma was also a very, very nice person, very actually brave, very nice person, very pious person. But out of duty, when his lord has committed him to Kauravas, he dare not come back to the Pandavas. So he goes to the Kaurava side and Yuyudhana stays on the in the Pandava side. So Virata is the king of the Matsya kingdom. Okay, will not. And later, of course, Virata, at the end of the exile, when the Pandavas had to spend 1 year incognito, they went and took shelter in the Virata, the Matsya kingdom. And the whole story was very known to us, how they had to spend life without being recognizing. And now Arjuna becomes a Shikhandi there, and he becomes the Brahmanade there, and then he teaches dance to his daughter, Uttara, and so on. It's a different story. It's a side story. So here, these are the people who are on Pandava side. So here, every one of them was as formidable as Bhima and others. So they were actually very strong. So I'll be skipping through some of the purports because I have just plucked some important points for you all. So Drishtaketusche Hitanaha Kashi Rajascha Viryavan Purujit Kunti Bhojascha Chaibhyascha Narapungavaha. So who are the other people who are present on their side? So there are also great heroic powerful fighters like Drishtaketu. Drishtaketu was the son of Shishupala. And Drishtaketu's son was Shekitanaha. Okay. Now, who was Shishupala? He was actually the cousin nephew of Krishna, actually. So then Kashi Raja is the king of Kashi. Then Purujit, Kunti Bhoja. Kunti Bhoja is the father of Kunti Maharani. And then Purujit is the son of Kunti Bhoja. There's Shaiba is also one of the warriors fighting there. Okay. This explanation is here. I will not go to that because it's been told to you. So, okay. Yuyudha Manuscha Vikranta Uttamaujaschcha Viryavan Saubhadro Draupadeyascha Sarva eva Maharathaha. Now here, Yudhan, there's two words, some names coming here. Yudhamanyu. Yudhana is different. Let us not mistake. Yudhana is Satyaki. It's a Yudhamanyu. Yudhamanyu and Uttamajau were the sons of Drupada, okay, Panchala king. Now they, and then who were all there? These two people and the son of Subhadra. So Subhadra and the sons of Draupadi. So Saubhadro means the sons of Subhadra. And Draupadiya is the sons of Draupadi. So Subhadra's son is, of course, Abhimanyu. And Draupadi's sons were actually 5 in number. Their names were actually Prativindya, Sutasoma, Shrutakirti, Sutanika, and Shrutasena. These were the names of the Draupadi's sons, were killed later by Ashwathama. That is the sad story. Okay, so Mahabharata. Here, the interesting thing is, see, Drupada was on the side of the Pandavas. So both were engaged, both means Uttamajau and Yudhamanyu. What were they doing? They were engaged as bodyguards of Arjuna initially. What were they doing? Yudhamanyu was deployed as a protector of the left wheel of the chariot of Arjuna. So Arjuna's chariot is a divine chariot given by Agni Deva. In fact, before the war started, Yudhishthira requested Arjuna to go and do some penance, because he had a lot of, he wanted him to get some benedictions, and not only benedictions oral, but also in the form of weapons, celestial weapons from the demigod, from the gods. So then Arjuna does it. It's again a very long story. I'll cut it short. Then he goes to Shiva. From Shiva, he gets Pashupatastra. He goes to Kubera, gets the Antardhana. Antardhana is actually, by that, using that power, you could make the enemies to sleep. You can put them to sleep. Then he goes to Indra. Indra is his son only, is not. Kunti begets Arjuna out of Indra, of the prayers to Indra. So then he's so happy to help him. Then he gives him a golden horse, golden chariot with 1,000 horses and all that. So that's that is his treasure of and his power actually. So the chariot used here is a chariot given by Agni Deva. That's very significant. Now the left wheel was protected by Yudhamanyu and the right wheel was protected by Uttamajau. That is how they were protecting Arjuna. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Now we go to the next shloka. Asmakam tu vishishtaye tani bodha tvijottama nayaka mama sainasya samnyartham tan pravimite. We come here. So, but for your information, O best of the Brahmanas, it is telling Dronacharya, let me tell you one thing about the captains who are specially qualified to lead my, now he's coming to his force. He has now described the force of the Pandavas. He says, teacher, Brahmana, that is Dronacharya, please don't think we have got many less powerful warriors. They're equally powerful. They're actually what, after all, the Pandavas being led by Bhima, but we are being led by Bhishma. What a comparison, no comparison at all. So now tells him, but again, with all this, you should remember he's a diplomat. In the heart of hearts, he's having fear, he's trembling actually. But then sometimes some people, to mask their fear, they speak too much or they speak overconfidently. When a person speaks too much or speaks in a loud voice or speaks a little differently, it means something is wrong inside. A person who is very equanimous in mind will not speak like that. So, Bhavan Bhishmascha Karnascha Kripascha Samitinjayaha Ashwathama Vikarnascha Somadattis Tathaivacha. Here we can come to our module. We can see here in 7 to 9. He's telling him that we have fighting for material cause, all these people. Dronacharya is there with us. Bhishma is there. And this we have, I think I've discussed this with you. I've told, there's a little mistake. Somadatta, this is Somadatta. So these are people on the Kaurava side. Now, we'll go to the next verse and come back to this. Yeah. Fine. Yeah. Now, here there are personalities like you. That is Dronacharya, you're such a great person. You're there. My teacher. He's sarcastic also there sometimes. Bhishma, Karna, the half-brother of Arjuna, Karna is there. Then Kripa is there, Kripacharya is there, Ashwathama. There's a very nice, cute story about Kripacharya, I'll tell you. Very nice, interesting story. He's one of the Chiranjeevis again. So Kripacharya, Ashwathama, Vikarna, brother of Duryodhana. Look at the predicament. Vikarna is a brother of Duryodhana. He knows what is right, what is wrong. He was the one who felt so sorry for Draupadi when her clothes were being stripped in the Mahasabha. But he was helpless. He could do nothing. His voice was unheard. While Dushasana's his voice and his actions were very much prominent there. So Vikarna is the son of Duryodhana. Helplessly he has to fight for Duryodhana. And the son of Somadatta called Bhurishrava. Now Somadatta's son is Bhurishrava. Okay. Now who is Bhurishrava? Is a contemporary of Pandu. So all these people, what later of course Arjuna tells all this, I see father-like people, I see son-like people, I see grandsons, I see my friends, I see grandfathers, great-grandfathers, I see my uncles, maternal uncles, all of them. How can I kill them? So Bhurishrava is like father-like figure to actually Arjuna, who are always there victorious. Now there are, I told you, does anyone know the names of 7 Chiranjeevis? Who is a Chiranjeevi? Kindly unmute and answer me. Has anyone raised their hands? Who is a Chiranjeevi? Yeah, Vaidehi Mataji, please tell me. Yeah.
Immortal person.
Yeah, immortal person. He's going to live forever. So they're divine people. They're not ordinary people, no? So can you tell me the names of the Chiranjeevis, if you know?
I can see here, Mataji. Ashwatthama,
yes.
Mahabali,
I expected
Vyasa, yeah. Lord Hanuman, Vibhishna, Kripacharya, and Lord Parashurama.
Very good, very good. I thought you would not see the screen and try to recollect. Now, these are the 7 Chiranjeevis, okay? Now, Kripacharya story is very interesting. I'll just come to it. Now, he mentions, Duryodhana mentions that I think we need not go again. Vikarna is Ashwatthama is Bhurishrava, all of them will skip that, okay? Now, about Kripacharya. See, Kripacharya and Kripa and Kripi, they are actually twins, okay? One brother, one sister. Now, Kripi is the husband, is a wife of Dronacharya. She marries Dronacharya later. Now, Kripa, both of them were born to actually Shardvan, sage. He's the son of Gautama, okay? So, Gautama's grandson is Kripacharya. So, Gautama had a grandson called, Shardvana. Shardvana means who is born with arrows, was born with arrows, okay? So, he was born with arrows. Now, this made clear to everyone that he was born to become an archer only, okay? And as he grew up, he was so skillful and he started meditating, but he was very principled, he was not unprincipled. Sometimes some of the sages go way like, like Vishwamitra who falls for, Urvashi, and that it doesn't happen like that with him. So he's very much famous in archery. So he then started undertaking penance to become unbeatable. He wanted to become unbeatable in the entire universe. So then what happened? The gods became very fearful of this, So of all the gods, Indra was most fearful. And he said, oh my goodness, if he becomes unbeatable, then what about me? What about others? So what he does, that is his job always. Indra's job is only that, He made a beautiful Apsara and called Janapadi, and he sent her down to distract the sage actually. Then she comes down and she tried to distract him. Then Shardvana doesn't get distracted. He's very fixed on his penance. He runs away from there into the forest. As he's running away, basically, there is a human, reactions do happen when you are try to be entrapped, So then on the way, on the weeds actually, his semen drops, and that drops and that divides into 2 on the weeds, and they become a boy and a girl. Okay. They are not born. That's why Kripacharya is very divine. He's not, neither Kripi nor Kripa were actually born out in the mother's womb. They were they were born through the drops of semen. And as you all know, the semen contains the soul. So they're very, very enlightened souls. They are found on the weeds. Then Shantanu is passing that way. He's coming from Hastinapura. Then he sees 2 cute children on the way, very divine children. He picks them up and then takes them to his place. Then Shardvana, after some time, he is divine. He is also very divine. He comes to know that his children are being brought up at Shantanu's place, goes there and tells him the whole story. Then Shantanu is very, very, he's very understandable and he gives the children to him. And he's himself a great archer. So he trains them in archery and all sort of warfare activities and become very intelligent actually. So that's how, the Kripacharya becomes, so he's not an ordinary born biological child, like most children. So he was so stead. I mean, his devotion was so very strong, and his support to Dharma was very actually potent. So Krishna makes him Chiranjeevi. So he becomes actually a Chiranjeevi. So but unfortunately, though he is a Chiranjeevi, Ashwatthama is also a Chiranjeevi. He cannot become. He never he leads the Kaurava army. So Kripacharya is there, even very competent, and Dronacharya was there as a very elevated Brahmana. But then Duryodhana has more faith in Bhishma, and so he immediately, of course, though he doesn't, reluctantly, he becomes the leader. And later, after Bhishma, he lays down from the office. Then he prefers Karna. He doesn't prefer Kripacharya or anyone else. He says Karna is best because, enemy is friend. So obviously, when Karna had something against Arjuna, Karna wanted to kill Arjuna. That's all. So there is something common that even Duryodhana and Karna had. So he chose Karna later. That's how it goes. I think we'll not go much into the story part of it. So that's about what happens. Parashurama also comes. He's also one of the avatars. So yeah, we come to the next shloka. Anye cha bahava shura madarthe tyakta jivitaha nana shastra praharnaha sarve yuddha visharadaha. Translation. There are many other heroes, he says. No, not only these, you have got many other heroes. He's just boasting, who are prepared to lay down their lives for my sake. Obviously, they are foolish. They have come there because they are obligated. They have no other choice. So they have just come to Duryodhana, not to get him a victory, but to die. But he doesn't know that. He thinks they have all come to get him a victory only. All of them are well equipped and with different kinds of weapons, and all are experienced in military science. So it tells Dronacharya, we are no less. We are quite, here the names he quotes is Jayadratha. It is the wife of Dushala, his sister. And Kritavarma, I just told you about Kritavarma. Kritavarma is actually also belongs to the Vrishni clan, Yadu dynasty. Now he was without option. He had to continue with the Kauravas, though he wanted to. He was for righteousness, but then Satyaki remains. That Yudhana remains on the Pandava side. Kritavarma goes on the Kaurava side. Then Shalya is the maternal uncle. So all are determined to lay down their lives for Duryodhana's sake. That's what he says. Actually boasts. So then we come to the next shloka. Aparyaptam tadasmakam balam bhishmabhirakshitam paryaptam tidame tesham balam bhimabhirakshitam. He says, our strength is immeasurable. He is so very proud. He says, normally who are strong people never say we are strong. But he says we are very, you just can't analyze. You can't even see how strong we are. And we are perfectly protected by grandfather. Now he comes to catches of Bhishma. He knows, grandfathers can be easily, they can be flattered and they can be won over. So he says, grandfather Bhishma, whereas the strength of the Pandavas carefully protected by Bhima. Just Bhima, that's all, is limited. So Bhishma is definitely more powerful than Bhima. So protection provided by Bhima is nothing compared to the protection provided by Bhishma. Now here he says, when he's so much praising Bhishma, he says, then he is afraid that the others may mistake. So just to pacify them, he says, Bhishma Pitama is definitely there, but then you people you are also very powerful. You have a lot of responsibility. You have to protect him from all the sides because he is quite old, and then he may by chance, absent-mindedly get stuck in the, people may try to reach him. So you have to protect him from all the sides. Herein, an estimation of comparative strength is made by Duryodhana. He thinks that the strength of the armed forces is immeasurable, being specifically protected by the most experienced general, his grandfather is a general also, Bhishma. On the other hand, the forces of Pandavas are limited, being protected by Bhima. So he says, we'll have to take care of our grandfather. His conclusion is that he would come out of the battle victorious. He was very sure of victory. There's no doubt at all. Ayaneshu cha sarveshu yatha bhagam avastitaha bhishmam eva bhirakshantu bhavanta sarva eva hi. He says, now we must take care of Bhishma. That's very important because he's afraid. If Bhishma is praised to the skies, others will feel offended. So they also have to be told that they're all very capable. And one more thing, protecting the general is more important than actually anything else in a war. So he says, you also have very responsible jobs. You must take care of it. So Duryodhana, after praising the prowess of Bhishma, further considered that others might think that they have been considered less important. So in this usual diplomatic way, that's what diplomats do. They don't want to let down anyone. They praise one person to one extent and they praise the other to another extent. And then they see that both are happy. Okay. So he tried to adjust the situation in the above words. He emphasized that Bhishma Deva was undoubtedly the greatest hero. There's no doubt about it. He was an old man. Whatever it is, consideration has to be there. So everyone must especially think of his protection from all sides. He might become engaged in the fight. He'll be engrossed in fight. And the enemy might take advantage of his full engagement on one side and then just go and attack him. That shouldn't happen, he says. Therefore, it was important that all other heroes not leave their strategic positions and allow the enemy to break the phalanx. Phalanx is the arrangement. It's called the vyuha. Okay? Duryodhana clearly felt that the victory of the Kurus depended on the presence of Bhishma Deva. He thought he lays all responsibility on Bhishma Deva. But surprising thing is, poor grandfather Bhishma Deva knows heart of hearts that all this is wrong. He was for Dharma. He was actually, what a great soul he was actually. He knows everything what is happening is wrong. But see, sometimes our children, grandchildren, they go wrong. But as parents and grandparents, we are helpless. And then out of attachment, I told you one of the earlier classes, affection is good. Attachment is very bad. When you are actually judging a situation by its merits, you have to be unattached. Have affection, no problem. You can hug your child later. You can give him whatever you want later. Okay, pat on the back, anything. But when he's wrong, he's wrong. That guts we have to have actually. So we have a lesson here to learn from Mahabharata, especially Bhagavad Gita. So he knows it. He was confident of full support of Bhishma Deva and Dronacharya in the battle because he well knew that they did not even speak a word when Arjuna's wife Draupadi in a helpless condition. Why did they not speak? There's a reason for it. They were helpless. They were actually in the Mahasabha when Draupadi was being stripped. But absolutely they were helpless. They were seeing it. But Vidura was very wise. He just walked away from that. He was not there at all. They were all obligated. See, especially Dronacharya, he was obligated because he was getting some benefit. He said not that because of benefit he actually let down the Pandavas, but then he was obligated. I think that's the best word to be used. They're obligated. And Bhishma Pitamaha, he is the eldest of the whole, in the race, the whole clan. So he had to, as an elderly person, he had to see all this, and then he had to actually swallow the injustice that was happening to Draupadi. But he very well knew that she would get the help and should come out winning, should win. And it did happen. Krishna came and he helped her. So had appealed to them for justice while she was being forced to appear naked. See, he felt when she was being stripped in the Mahasabha, Dronacharya was silent. He was so foolish. He never thought about other things, that they're all they're obligated to me and they're doing things out of obligation. See, when someone does something to us, we can make out whether it is truly or for obligation. It could be a student or it could be your relatives or your own people. We can make out because you know how good or how bad you are. So if you're not really good, if someone is doing something or helping you, actually, it obviously means it's an obligation. Either you're paying them money, your servant, for instance, she is obliged by your whatever, I can't say mercy, but whatever you give her. So she cannot speak anything against you if she's really satisfied with whatever she's getting. So they get obligated. But I can make out if my servant is supporting me out of cause, when I'm wrong, I should know that intelligence must tell me that I'm wrong, but yet because she's obligated, she's helping me. But this foolish fellow doesn't realize that at all. He thinks, no, I deserve it, and my grandfather is actually helping me. See, when Dronacharya and Bhishma Pitamaha did not utter a word in the Mahasabha when that was happening, then obviously they help me now. And though he knew, again, heart of hearts, he knows that Pandavas, actually Bhishma Pitamaha and Dronacharya are towards the Pandavas. So he's very careful at the same time. Although he knew that the two generals, that is Dronacharya and Bhishma Pitamaha, had some sort of affection for the Pandavas. He knows that. He hoped that these generals would now completely give it up. If they still continue to have the affection towards the Pandavas, definitely they are going to lose. So he tells them, please don't, please don't do that. You have to help me. Okay. Then tasya sanjanayan harsham guru vruddha pitamaha simhanadam vinadyochaihi shankham dadmo pratapavan. So here the Bhishma, now what happens? Now the battle is going to begin now. Now he has praised his army, he has boasted of his army, and I can't say praise the other army, but actually spelt what the army is like on the other side. Now Bhishma Pita, there's no option. See, he's already in the right in the front. He has to, whatever comes, he has to take it up. So what he does, he has to now blow the conch shell. Very interesting comparison. I thought I would share with you. Sometimes what happens is, your child, let's say a grandfather and a grandchild, the grandchild breaks something very valuable. Okay. Then what the grandfather, there are two ways of reaction. One is they just scold or take action and then be a little stern about what has happened. And some of them, they just start clapping. When it's broken also, they start clapping, because there's no point in scolding because it will have no effect. So in certain cases. So that is what happened here. Then Bhishma, the great valiant grandsire of the Kuru dynasty, the grandfather of the fighters, blew his conch shell. He blew it, okay, very loudly, making a sound like the roar of a lion, giving Duryodhana joy. Duryodhana is very happy, definitely very happy. But then actually Bhishma Pitamaha is not happy at all. What happens here is the grandsire of the Kuru dynasty would understand the inner meaning of the heart of his grandson. He knows Duryodhana is weak in heart and is wrong. What he's doing is very wrong. And out of his natural compassion for him, he tried to cheer him. So by blowing the conch shell very loudly, what is a grandfather doing by clapping the hands when the grandchild breaks something? To cheer him only. Because otherwise the child will start crying. If something, crockery is broken, suddenly a very huge crockery something, and then you start scolding, the child will cry. As it is, without ignorant child, I'm not talking about an intelligent child, ignorant child definitely will start crying. So to prevent the child from crying, the grandfather will start clapping the hands to cheer the child. Don't worry, it's okay. So to cheer him by blowing his conch shell very loudly, befitting his position as a lion, indirectly by the symbolism of the conch shell, he informed his depressed grandson. Actually, there's a dual personality of Duryodhana here. He is weak in the heart. He is depressed. He is afraid. Everything. At the same time, false ego. All absolutely false show on top. So he's informed his depressed grandson that he had no chance of victory in the battle. He knows it. Duryodhana also knows he's not going to win. But simply is saying no. Some children, they are going to the examination hall. There are two types of students. Some are very sincerely prepared and they go very submissively and they write and come back and say, they go as if they are going to fail and come back victorious. But some of them know nothing. They are all the while preparing only themselves, not for the examination. And they think they're going to clear the whole paper. Then they come back and they have no regrets also. What do you call such people? Duryodhana belongs to that clan, that sort, So the depressed Duryodhana, he had no chance of victory in the battle because the Supreme Lord Krishna was on the other side. It was clear writing on the wall. Krishna was on the other side. Not only Krishna was the major factor, there are so many other things, the chariot and then Kapidhwaja and so many things we'll talk about it later. So because the Supreme, but still it was his duty to conduct the fight and no pains would be spared in that connection. So as a duty, what to do. He's standing in the forefront. He's the captain of the ship. He has to take it. Whether the ship is going to sink or float, doesn't matter. He has to be. And a captain, unfortunately, a really committed captain never leaves the ship. Even if the ship is sinking, he has to sink with the ship. That's the actually etiquette, Others may escape, all can escape, but the captain of the ship has always to be with the ship only. Winning or otherwise doesn't matter. I just thought I would compare, comparable to the clapping. I think I've told you, I'll not go back into it. I'll have quickly. Clapping was, this is okay as child is innocent. And here I wanted to add a thing. The child is innocent and ignorant when it is doing something. But here Duryodhana is neither a child nor innocent. He's not child at all. He's grown up enough. He has children too. and not even innocent, not at all. Absolutely not innocent. He's wicked, crooked, and ignorant of the consequences of fighting against dharma. He doesn't know, ignorant of the consequences. That's, but still he's proceeding with this, his behavior. Okay. Now then, tata shankascha bheryascha panavanaka gomukhaha sahasai vabhya hanyanta shabdas tumulo abhavat. So here, after that conch shells, the blowing happens, drums, bugles, trumpets, and horns were all suddenly sounded, and the combined sound was tumultuous. The war has started now. It has begun. Actually, all this is there in the Bhakti Vriksha. I can actually make use of these things. I thought here, the 10th we have just completed. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. 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 So this we have covered. So he's a diplomat. Duryodhana is envious of Bhima, obviously, and he knows that envious. Why is he envious of Bhima? He knows that his death is going to be by Bhima only. That's why he is envious of his strength. Now, Pandavas, that I've already told you. Now, Duryodhana requesting his army to support Bhishma. That also I have told you how he has to be protected because he's an old man. We'll skip that. The 14th verse. Now, they see in the presentation, it isn't beautifully given like this. You can use it in your Bhakti Vriksha classes. There are points here, but I prefer to go to my points that I have highlighted. And both are equally good, no problem at all. So here, Krishna and Arjuna blowing transcendental conch shells. So the conch shell blown was by Bhishma Pitamaha was not, though he was transcendental, it was actually compared to Krishna and Arjuna's conch shells. It was not a transcendental conch shell because he was first, and only one reason is he was not siding dharma. He was on the other side. Okay. Whenever you are doing a right thing, you are transcendental, you are divine, you are spiritual. Whatever it may be, it could be anything. It could be even some act on the road, not necessarily something like this, it could be anything. If you are doing a very divine thing, a very good thing, if you're very simple, you store something on the road, a banana peel on the road, it's definitely wrong. If you pick it up and throw in the dustbin, it's again divine. Very simple. The divine is very simple. Krishna and Arjuna conch shell is described as transcendental. Madhava, Krishna, is husband of goddess of fortune. Madhava means the husband of the goddess of fortune. So chariot given by Agni, capable of conquering all three worlds in all directions. It could actually conquer the people from all directions. So it is very divine. So victory is because of these points, victory was certain for the Pandavas. Now, observing the 15 to 18, we'll go to my content. Now, Krishna, Arjuna, and Bhima blowing transcendental conch shells. This can come for your quizzes also. So please remember the names of the conch shells. Now, so they have blown and they're ready. They have announced, they've heralded that we are ready for war. Who? The Kauravas. They're called for war. Even otherwise, who called for war? They only called for war. Pandavas never wanted war. In fact, Krishna went along with Satyaki to have a peace meeting with Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana, and all of them. They denied. They didn't want peace at all. They're not peace-loving people at all. So then, helplessly now they have to answer the conch shell. So Krishna blows his Panchajanya, Arjuna blows his Devadatta, Bhima blows Poundra, Yudhishthira blows Ananta Vijaya, Nakula blows Sughosha, and Sahadeva blows Manipushpaka. These are the conch shells of our Pandavas. Okay, so the Krishna is actually is situated in everyone's heart, and he directs senses based on living entities' desire. So whatever you desire, God grants. He never says no, good or bad, he grants. Then he says, if it is good, you're on the right track. God as Krishna is like a beacon. He shows both the ways. This will take you to virtuousness, to your good future. And this is going to take you to a valley. You're going to ravine. You're going to fall and die there. It's up to you to choose which way you want to go. So it never comes in the way. A beacon never says stop. A beacon is only meant to direct. So if you want to go the wrong way, it won't say stop, don't go there. Okay, it allows you to go there, but you have to face the consequences. Okay, the living entity has to actually face all the consequences. Now we'll come to there are different names of Krishna, Arjuna, and Bhima here. So very interesting. This you could take as an activity in your Bhakti Vriksha class. So names of Krishna means all attractive. What does Krishna mean? All attractive. Rishikesha, master of senses. Then Madhava, husband of the goddess of fortune. Achyuta, infallible one, never false, never commits mistake, and always in order, follows the orders of the devotees. Whatever the devotee says, okay, come. Like, grandfather and again a grandchild only. Wherever the grandchild takes in the park, the grandfather will go with the child. He'll not say, no, not here, not there. He goes with the child. So even Achyuta is just like that. Madhusudana, killer of the demon, named Madhu. So wherever Arjuna will be seeing in many of these shlokas, wherever is posed with problems, he addresses him as Madhusudana, Keshinandana, and so on. Okay, so there are different names. I think you can have a detailed study in your Bhakti Vriksha classes. Vasudeva, then Devaki Nandana, Yashodanandana, Parthasarathi, Keshava, Janardana. Please go through all this because we don't have much time for all that today. So I'll just go to the content that I wanted to share with you. So here, Tata Shvetairhaye Yukte, Mahati Syantane Sitau, Madhava Pandavaschaiva, Divyo Shankho, Pradad Matu. Here, now they will start blowing their shells. I mean, conch shells. I have told you, I will skip this now because you know what shells were blown by whom and what sound it made. And here we come to Panchajanya Hrishikesho Devadatam Dhananjayaha Poundram Dajmau Mahashankham Bhimakarma Vrikodaraha. So Vrikodara is called, Bhima is called Vrikodara. Why was he called Vrikodara? Can anyone tell me why was he called Vrikodara? Anyone? Please raise your hands. Yeah, Anuradha Mataji, please tell me what is Vrikodara?
He is a voracious eater.
Exactly. Yeah, he was a gluttonous eater actually. He wanted to eat a lot. So yeah, thank you participants for raising the hands. Yeah, I'm unfortunately helplessly I'm rushing through, though we did not want to rush here like this. But yeah, there are so many names, and I think that we have seen in the chart. We have seen. So we'll just skip through this also. Yeah, fine. 16 to 18. Yeah, maybe even this is a very big shloka. We'll go to the translation because. In case we are not, I want to, Murli Prabhu, are you there?
Yes,
Murli
yes,
Prabhu?
I'm here.
Prabhu, I was just wondering, of course, I'll try to, we are still, within half an hour, I can't complete all the 27. Is there a possibility, if they just kindly ask them, the audience, if they're able to come tomorrow also at the same time?
Okay. You want the hands up for those who are agreeing?
You kindly let me know, let them decide and tell me, so that I needn't rush in such a manner because it's a level 2 class, and I think then there won't be difference between level and level 2. So interesting things to discuss. If they want, I mean, if they're not comfortable, then we'll keep it to only Saturdays and Sundays. I'll continue in the following class. But I'll have to take till 9:30. I can't stop at 9. If they are okay. Kindly find out, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Yeah, Prabhuji, if it is okay with 9:30, then we can conclude with that. As you see.
Can't hear.
Am I audible, Prabhuji?
Yeah, now you are.
Yeah. If 9:30 is the time Mataji wants, can we go with that time?
Very few hands have come up.
For 9:30?
9:15, few hands have come up.
Then how about tomorrow? Tomorrow, are they prepared
Tomorrow
to come?
also about 7 or 8.
That's all.
Total 19 hands for both the questions. For today's extension and for tomorrow's presence.
Oh, then we will have to meet only next Saturday. I mean, of course I'll have to go till 9:30. That's is that okay with all? Is 9:30 okay?
Yeah, there are quite a few hands, 25 hands. Yeah.
I'll try to cover as much as possible 9:30. Then of course the remaining part, though we have to start the second chapter next week. Probably I'll rush through this and then maybe in that case I'll go to the presentations only. I can't, but I had some extra information, but I'll keep it. I'll give it to the Bhakti Vriksha classes probably. They can
Okay.
do it there. I think, yeah. I'll not waste much time now. So fine. So these are the different names of Krishna, and then the meanings are given there. You can just go through. Not only Krishna, even Arjuna are here. See, Partha, son of Pratha, Gudakesha, conquers sleep. Now, why did he want to conquer sleep? Can anyone tell me the answer? Why did he want to conquer sleep? Yeah, please tell me. Someone has raised their hands. Arjuna, who is, where? Give the answer myself. Arjuna is called Gudakesha. Why did he want to conquer sleep? What could be the reason? Yeah, please answer. Those who have raised their hands. Anyone can answer? Please unmute the one who raised, Babuji.
Yeah, I'm doing that. It is not getting unmuted.
Oh, I see. Acha.
It's got stuck. Aishwarya Mataji, you may speak.
There's some problem unmuting. Okay.
Aishwarya Mataji, just try. Pradosh Prabhuji is here.
Yeah. But not get unmuted, I think. Unmuting is a problem.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
Mataji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Unmuting is a problem, Prabhu? Pradosh Prabhu?
Mataji, for me it was quite easy. You asked
Others
me
are
and
struggling.
might be. Prabhuji, can we do in the setting unmute itself when we ask question? That may work.
Allow
By the
participants to
Mataji, Hare
unmute.
Krishna, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gudakesha, it's Arjuna Mataji. Like,
Yes,
I
yes.
think he wanted to practice archery in the night. Like, he was trying to. Was that the reason?
No, Mataji. See, Krishna has to be remembered 24/7. Okay, all the while. So what his fear was, if he sleeps, he may forget Krishna. He doesn't want to forget Krishna. Something like, Jagannath Puri, Jagannath, he has no eyelids at all. He normally all eyes have eyelids. He wants to see the devotee all the while. And he feels eyelids will come in the way. If he blinks with the eyelids, he may not be able to see the devotee for some time. So his eyes are always wide open. So like the same way, Arjuna wants to be always awake to remember Krishna. So he's called the winner or conqueror of sleep. So he was actually one who had conquered sleep and ignorance. So in other words, sleep does it not also mean, can it not be also taken as a synonym for ignorance? Sleep. Normally, we are ignorant in sleep. We just we are close to dead in sleep, So he doesn't want that to happen. Inaction should not be there. So he wants to be always active. So he had conquered sleep, okay? And other names are here. Vrukodara, as someone said rightly, he is a voracious eater. Dhananjaya, Janardana, fine. We'll go to the next verse. Now, blowing became a pro. We'll confine to the presentation today. And yeah, sometime later, maybe I'll share my content maybe with the Bhakti Vriksha, you can discuss that. Okay? Blowing became uproarious, shattered hearts of sons of Dhritarashtra. When all these 5 conch shells were blown, what happened was they were not happy. See, when Bhishma blew his conch shell, Duryodhana was very happy because they have heralded war, called for war. But then when in answer, these Pandavas' conch shells are blown, the fear is a trembling inside. There's actually fear in the heart. I mean, it triggers off a lot of fear in the hearts of Duryodhana. Duryodhana, his team blew conch shell, didn't shatter Pandava. On the contrary, when the Kauravas blew their conch shells, Pandavas were unaffected. Nothing happened to them due to confidence in Lord Krishna. He was there. They were absolutely not afraid at all, taking shelter of Lord, nothing to fear. Kauravas' heart shattered due to fear. Okay. Now Arjuna prepared to fight, asks Lord Krishna to draw chariot. Now Arjuna is ready. He has taken his bow and arrow, is about to start fighting. Suddenly he feels, he knows that this hold is a redundant exercise. It was unwanted, unnaturally called for. This war was not required at all. 5 villages we wanted, that's all, but if silently been ruling ourselves, we wouldn't have done anything. Because the Kshatriyas, they have to do some ruling also, they can't keep quiet. That was his thing. So let me see with whom we are going to fight. He wants to see those people who are foolishly wanting war. I want to see who they are. So he tells our Krishna, the charioteer, the divine charioteer, he shouldn't be mistaken that he was actually a charioteer only of, like a chauffeur of Arjuna. He was the supreme personality of Godhead. But always Godhead, like again the grandfather, I come to that. Although he's the grandfather of the house, whatever the child says, he listens to it. Doesn't mean he's any less in power, but he listens to the child very obediently. So Arjuna's flag on the chariot has emblem of Hanuman. So actually it is Kapidhwaja. It's actually Kapidhwaja. So, and even the chariot's name was Kapidhwaja, devotee of Lord Rama. Now Lord Rama was actually helped by Hanuman in winning over Ravana. And here also Rama is nothing but an avatar of Krishna. So Krishna is here and Hanuman is in the form of the Kapidhwaja, the symbol on the flag on the chariot, signs victory because Hanuman cooperated Lord Rama when they won the battle then in Ramayana. Also, Lord Krishna is personally present as Rishikesha to direct his senses. Rishikesha is the master of senses. So what the senses means mind. So mind is very important. The mind has to be strong. Mind is weak, both. So controlling that mind is our Rishikesha. So it's when he's only there on the battlefield, there is a fear of losing, no chance at all. Arjuna's victory is assured. And what are the signs of victory for the Pandavas? Let's see. The Krishna's personal presence, one is definitely confirms victory. Supreme personality of Godhead is a charioteer. Jayastu Pandu Putranam Isham. Krishna as Rishikesha directly controls the senses of a pure devotee. The goddess of fortune, the Madhava, is called as Madhava. Madhava means husband of the goddess of fortune. So actually Arjuna tells him later, see, you say you are the husband of the goddess of fortune. So when all these people are killed and all fortune is lost, what am I going to reign over? So as the husband of the goddess of fortune, why do you want me to fight, Krishna? Please don't ask me to fight. Whenever and wherever the Lord is present, the goddess of fortune is also there. She never lives without her husband. Therefore, all fortune is guaranteed. And what is the venue? Kurukshetra. We studied such a lot yesterday of the holy place, the effect of the holy place and war. Hanumanji on the Arjuna's flag. Hanumanji also helped Lord Rama in gaining victory. Symbol of Vishnu. Conch shell is a symbol of Vishnu. Even in our puja rooms, when we use Vishnu conch shell to do Abhisheka, it is actually a symbol of Vishnu only. This is indirectly indicated by Bhishma and Pandava's conch shells. All have blown their conch shells. The transcendental conch shells are those of Krishna and Arjuna. They're very, very divya. They're very divine. Bhishma's conch shell to pacify Duryodhana. Bhishma only blows to actually cheer Duryodhana, not for anything else. Actually, it is almost calling for defeat only. Agni Deva's chariot given to Arjuna, that was given to him, capable of conquering all directions. Shattering of hearts. Conch shells of Pandavas shattered Kaurava's hearts. Pandavas' hearts not shattered because of the confidence of taking shelter of Krishna. Then we come to the 21 to 23 shlokas. Arjuna calls Lord as Achyuta, infallible one. See, because whatever Arjuna says, the Lord does. Arjuna says, let us go in the center of the battlefield. I want to see both the sides of the armies. He wants to see both the sides, his side and the other side. Then he sees on one, he is taken. Actually, should the Lord follow what the devotee or whatever anyone else says? He should order us actually. But then, for a devotee, is actually very, very obedient. He is actually, he's a servitor. He becomes almost a servitor of a devotee, though he's not a servitor. He's actually supreme personality of Godhead. But here is called infallible. He never falls in his affection for his devotee. On the contrary, if someone offends him, he would rather take it. He will not feel bad. But if the devotee gets offended or hurt, he is the first person to go and fight. Lord Krishna, out of love and causeless mercy, accepted position of a charioteer. Lord Krishna takes pleasure in serving his unalloyed, pure devotees. In any position, his supremacy is never challenged. It doesn't mean, that, by being a charioteer, he became any less. Never, never. He can never become any less. And moreover, we see a flock of birds here. So all those who fought for Duryodhana were like they all the birds, they are of the same flock. They actually flap their feathers together. So they were wanting one particular cause to happen in the war. That is to win on the Kaurava side, but they're not going to win. Arjuna, being pure devotee, has no desire to fight, wanted to see how much his relatives and friends, were bent upon demanding an unwanted war. He wanted to see the supporters who wanted to please evil-minded Duryodhana estimate their strength, not for peace proposal. Now, of course, once having kept a step afoot, a step ahead, he is not the person who would withdraw the step. He only wants to see, not that he's going to ask for a compromise or anything like that. He wants to see whom against whom he's going to actually fight there. So now Lord Krishna draws a chariot in the midst of the two armies. Gudakesha, I have told you, we'll just skip certain things. Yeah, then Lord Krishna, yeah, fine. I mentioned about this. It is the teachers, it is maternal uncles, brothers, grandfathers, father-like people, son-like people, grandsons-like people, all are there. So he actually feels very sorry. This whole cycle you can study. These are all the different relations which he actually compares them with in his life. Against him, he was going to fight. So Arjuna, seeing them all, is overwhelmed with compassion. We come to the second part now. Arjuna's doubts start now. Now Arjuna's mind reels, thinking how this battle will finish his family and its traditions. He sees great sinful reactions awaiting him if he kills his family members, feeling it better to be killed unarmed than to fight. Arjuna, his mind overwhelmed with grief, casts aside his burned arrow, sits down upon his chariot. That's the last scene that actually happens here. I'll just quickly tell you what runs in his mind before we go to the verses. Then we can run through verses quite quickly. When he goes between the two bands, I just told you what all he feels like, he is going to slay these people. And what am I going to get with this, Even if I rule, if I get opulence, if I get a royal, if I win the entire world, whom am I going to rule over? Because all will be dead by then. And even the opulences, what will I enjoy with all these people? So still dreaming of enjoying with all these people, which is almost next to impossibility, because one has to die, one party has to win, one party has to lose, and the loser has to definitely actually surrender to the winning party. That he knows, but he still feels, what's the point? Look at the elevated character of Arjuna, soft-heartedness. All the characters are described here. So then he's afraid when the elders in the family die on the battlefield, what will happen to the houses? Then elderless people, houses, the children will go haywire, and then there'll be traditions are lost. And then the women will become absolutely polluted. And see, when the men are they're dead on the battlefield. Now, there's one thing, people, please don't mistake. Now, when women are referred to as unintelligent and untrustworthy, it doesn't mean our Srila Prabhupada is degrading women. Definitely not. It doesn't refer to the people who are Krishna conscious, and all of you are highly Krishna conscious. So it doesn't refer to us at all. It refers to people, women, who are not intelligent, or just, the mundane, or the lay women, they are definitely, normally that's why it is said that a woman has to be protected by the father when she is young, and by the husband when she is married, and then by the son when in the old age. That's it. Because she is vulnerable, very vulnerable. That's the right word actually. Then she's unintelligent, because if she can be exploited easily. When the man is not there to protect her, who may die on the battlefield, then you can understand what will happen. She's exploited, in a single term. And for money, they get actually, they're offered money, and then they, what all happens. Then prostitution happens, and then unwanted children are created. Varna Shankara happens. And the whole Varnashrama Dharma it topples. See, Varnashrama Dharma, the Sanatana Dharma, Varna and Ashrama. See, the Varnas are the four Varnas, okay? The Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and the Shudra. Ashrama, the Brahmacharya, then Grahastha, Vanaprastha Ashrama, and the Sannyasa Ashrama. Now, these are if you follow your duties in your respected Varnas and Ashramas, you are going to uphold the society, That's very important. Just your duty, that's all. in a college or a school or in a class, they only the students of that particular class, if they mend themselves properly, enough. The whole college or school is organized. Even if one of we don't have to go, one class student or the 5th standard student monitor doesn't have to go and take care of the whole school. Just take care of her class or his class. The whole school is taken care of the same way. Now, when Varnas are taken care of by the Varna the people, and the Ashramites by their actually people, the whole there is harmony in society. But what will happen is, once all these men die on the battlefield, and on the battlefield only men die, they die. So that when they die, all this will be actually completely upset. When the unwanted children are born, when they are born, family traditions are lost. And when that is lost, what happens? See, our elders, Pitrus, they have to be given oblations. They do Shraddha and all that. Rituals have to be done. Now, many of them, if they don't get a proper death, they'll be hanging over as ghosts. They need to be actually given salvation. So if rituals are not done properly, they will not get liberated at all. If the Varna Shankara happens and unwanted children are born, and there's complete anarchy in the whole society, then how can such a situation be controlled? He feels so sorry. And I'll go to quickly the rest of the slides, but I just will tell you quickly what happens at the end. He tells him, Krishna, no, sorry, Krishna, I don't want to fight. Please excuse me. Now see, I don't have Shastra. I mean, absolutely, I have no weapons here right now. They all have weapons, and they have come to kill me. And I was supposed to be killing them. I don't want to kill them. Let them kill me, doesn't matter, unarmed. But actually, unarmed one should not be killed. But he says, doesn't matter, they can kill me. I don't want to kill them. So the last scene, actually, he sits on the chariot, lays down the bow and the arrows and all the entire thing. And he says, Krishna, sorry. He helplessly sits down. That's how the whole chapter ends. Now quickly, let's go through this. Arjuna's symptoms: limbs of my body are quivering and my mouth is drying up. So what happens when he sees his relatives? I want to ask you one thing. Supposing you are asked, you are given a gun in the hand, loaded gun in the hand, and your close person, dear person, comes and stands in front of you. You are said, you just shoot. Can you do it? Just imagine that scene for a moment. Can you do it? You just cannot do it. You start trembling. You may faint also, actually. Trembling is a very small, simple word I'm using. If someone is next to you and you said, just trigger fire, you can't do it. So the same fear Arjuna is having now. Reason: sympathy and compassion, overwhelmed by kindness, foreseeing their imminent death. Symptoms not due to weakness, but due to soft-heartedness, a characteristic of pure devotee of the Lord. He is such a pure devotee of the Lord, so soft-hearted, he cannot do that. Arjuna is astonished to see their fighting spirit. He's wondering, how are they prepared to fight against me? What sort of hearts are they having? Genuine devotees of Lord has all godly qualities. Non-devotees lack such qualities. So obviously, the other parties were, some are non-devotees, some are helpless. Some are actually, they wanted to fight for, didn't want to fight against Pandavas. They were helpless. You just can't blame them. Further symptoms of body trembling, hair standing on end, then bow slipping. Actually, he says, my Gandiva is slipping. Lacks such qualities. So body, all these, these are actually features of spiritual people will never have any fear. They have ecstasy. They never have fear. But then definitely material fears they lead to all these manifestations in your body. Okay. Sometimes, when you're writing in the examination hall, you're so nervous when you see a question, answer of which you do not know, the pen starts slipping from your hand. Just you start sweating, and then the pen drops and your whole, some people, those days, they used to use ink, the ink bottle would get spilled. Now that problem is not there. Then the compass box will fall off. So many things will happen, So the same way here, his bow is slipping from his hands. Okay. Now Arjuna sees only cause of misfortune. He feels, he's very sure, if this war happens, certainly there'll be nothing but misfortune, Krishna. So he says, further symptoms, unable to stand any longer. So I can't stand. Supposing a gun is given to you, you'll run away from there. If your close person, your very close friend is there and you're asked to trigger, he's just run away from there, drop it and go away. Forgetting himself, mind is reeling. Mind is reeling for him. For us, I think we may faint only when you have to ask to do such a job against your near one. Okay. So by Krishna's will, Arjuna's symptom, he forgets himself, weakness of mind. He's very weak in mind now. Not that he's weak. my mind. He's that shows his cultural actually level. Bewildering conditions happen. Sees only misfortune. He will not be happy even after winning. He says, no happiness will come to me. He's compassionate. He says, no happiness will come. And then there are certain aggressors, Aggressors are the people who attack your home. Like, for instance, one who comes to loot you or kidnap your wife or set fire to the house. There are different types of aggressors mentioned. We'll come to it later. But such aggressors, they need to be killed, definitely. But then what Arjuna says is, of course, they are aggressors. I do agree. But then they are my people. Supposing in your own house, your son comes to steal something. Okay. He's an aggressor. He's doing the wrong thing. But he's your son. How can you punish him? You'll try to hush up the whole thing. Is it not? The same way he feels they're my people. How can I? But actually, actually, as per the ethics, there's nothing wrong in killing the aggressors. They're plunderers. They set fire, they loot your treasure, they do so many things. Okay, they kidnap your wife, and then they use weapons against you, all that. But then you can really rightfully kill them. But he feels, if they're my people, how can I kill them? Look at his predicament. Look at his how much of thinking he's doing on the battlefield. Though he knows these people had created wax mahal, and they were to be burnt in the wax mahal. They were given, actually, they were actually wrongly actually made to lose in the battle, in the game of dice. All that he knows, all that what they have done, but still, all compassion for them. Look at that. And causeless compassion he has for, as God has causeless mercy, and here Arjuna is showing causeless compassion towards the Kauravas. Okay, sees only misfortune and nimittani viparitani, frustrations. Why am I living at all? Should I see this day to kill my people? He said, I wish I died. I collapse here only. And of course, that won't happen. Let them kill me. It doesn't matter. I'll be unarmed. Every living entity interested in himself, and he's actually, those are interested in themselves, and they suffer. They're selfish people. And those who work for Krishna are actually, they are the winners. So here what Krishna says is, say, don't work for your senses. Now you are now trying to, now here Arjuna is showing his ignorance to some extent, but that doesn't mean he's ignorant. He's actually Naranarayan of Naranarayana is sage Nara. He's very enlightened. But for our sake, he's actually showing his ignorance so that we get enlightened. Now he says, Krishna tells him, so don't try to pacify or gratify your senses. Now by not fighting, you are gratifying your senses. Okay. But then you don't try to do that. You try to gratify what I'm willing to do, because I know what is right, what is wrong. But one thing Arjuna does not know, what Krishna has already done. He thinks he's going to kill them now, but actually Krishna has already killed all of these people when they actually treaded the path of adharma in the Mahasabha. When Draupadi was being stripped, he saw, he was not silent, he was a silent viewer. He saw everything. And all those who stood for adharma had already killed them. So later he tells him, the realization comes in the next chapter. He tells him, don't worry, Arjuna, you are not killing them. I have already killed them. You only have to do the job here. So some of our elders, what they do is they give a very big bag with a lot of things in it and make a child carry it, The child can't carry it, obviously, beyond its weight. They just support the bag from the below and say, now carry it. The child can carry it. So they're actually taking the burden on themselves, but they're giving all the credit to the child. The same thing Lord does with us also, He solves all our problems. He's so merciful, he's so nice. But one thing great about him is he wants to give all the credit to us. He wants the devotee to enjoy the credit. That is very great about our Lord. So here he says, do everything for Krishna or Vishnu, you will incur no sins. Okay. Now he's called Keshava. Keshava is the killer of the demon Keshi. So all the doubts that Arjuna is getting here are like the demons. The demons are so huge in their in their actually magnitude. So those have to be actually solved by Krishna. So he tells him, you're a slayer of demons. You have killed Madhu and then you have killed Keshi, and please kill my doubts here now. So now what all these features we have discussed, we'll not go to that. Hair standing and then legs trembling, then skin burning, heart burning. All these feelings happen to actually Arjuna, and the mouth drying up and then whole body trembling. He forgetting himself, reeling and all that. No? When we come to the next shloka here. the Kshatriya dying. Now here, Arjuna cannot enjoy kingdom at the cost of killing relatives. That's what he feels. But what is the truth actually? A Kshatriya dying in the battlefield under Krishna's order, he'll go to sun planet. Okay, if a Kshatriya does not fight, that is sin. He tells him, killing these aggressors who are rightfully aggressors, no sin. You're not going to incur any sin by this. Arjuna, if you don't fight now as a Kshatriya, you are going to be sinful. So now the other person is the renounced order, life devoted to Krishna. Even they go to the sun planet. So they are eligible to go to higher planets. So what Arjuna says as a Kshatriya, he is actually attracted to bodily relationships. This is my grandfather, my son, my all that. My thing is there, no? That won't help. He's actually going after material bodily relationships, hoping to be happy by not killing them. That's what he's behaving like just a living entity, just like that, only like the way we behave for our sake. Killing relatives, no happiness in life, not willing to fight. Say, I don't want to fight. Like, some people, if they don't want to eat, they say, I don't want to cook at all. They're very easy. No cooking means no eating. But can you do that? Can you just, you remain hungry and say, I don't want to cook and I don't want to eat also? You can't. You have to cook. You have to eat. That's all dharma only. So he actually wanted to run away to the forest, in a secluded forest, to live solitarily. So Arjuna are not ready to fight even exchange of 3 words. He said, even if all the 3 words are granted to me, I don't want to fight Krishna. I want to, please excuse me. Now he calls Govinda. He calls him Govinda because Govinda is he gives pleasure to the cows and also his senses. Even senses is included here. So again, like Hrishikesha, he says, please help me, Govinda, to come over this situation. Arjuna indicates Krishna should understand what will satisfy his senses. Okay? But Govinda, he says, don't try to satisfy your senses, Arjuna. Try to satisfy my senses. That is more important. But that Arjuna is not actually still getting it. So, but Govinda is not meant to satisfy our senses. If we try to satisfy Govinda's senses, our senses will automatically get satisfied. That's very important. Now, Madhusudana, killer of the demon Madan, again, the same here the doubts are like the demon, they have to be killed. So here we see Krishna, Lord will satisfy to the extent, whatever, Lord is very intelligent. You may ask so many things, but then he gives us, grants us what we deserve, not what we yearn for. I may want to become the queen of some big, kingdom. That's my yearn, my aspiration. But he will only give me what I really deserve. That's very important. So that's also very important you have to note that point here. So trying to satisfy his own senses will never be elevated. You have to try to pacify the senses of the Lord, okay, as living entities. So here spiritual understanding is devotee ready to accept any opulence Krishna wants, okay? And do not complain otherwise if Krishna does not, Krishna not desire, it doesn't not desire, some mistake. Arjuna being devotee, very kind-hearted, wants to forgive his relative. Lord tolerates mischief on himself. He doesn't mind if you offend him. He doesn't bother. But if devotee is bothered, definitely gets very upset. Now, Arjuna fearful of sinful reaction. I have told you about these 6 aggressors, the poison giver, one who sets fire to the house, one who attacks. With all these can come in your quizzes. Very important points to remember. One who attacks with deadly weapons, one who plunders riches, then usurps someone else's land and kidnaps a wife. So all these can be punished. They can be killed. There'll be no sinful reaction. Now Kauravas did all kinds of aggression on Pandavas, hence killing them would not give any sinful reaction. But what does Arjuna say? If they are my people, how can I do that? Now Madhava is the goddess of fortune. Arjuna calling Krishna as Madhava, indicating that Krishna should not engage Arjuna. That would ultimately bring about misfortune, definitely. Now Krishna, see, if everything is gone, where is fortune there? It's all misfortune only. So I said, what will I rule over? I don't want this. Krishna, however, never brings his fortune to anyone, to say nothing of his devotees. Now Arjuna sees destruction of the family. This I've already told you. I just quickly go through. Now he feels the whole, the women are, once they're affected, the whole family structure is actually, it becomes topsy-turvy. Arjuna says, due to greed, the opposite party is ready to fight and kill each other. Arjuna understands result of war, destruction of the family. He sees not benefits in participating in this sinful activity. There are more loss than benefit, he says. There's no benefit at all, Krishna. Kshatriya should not refuse invitation of gambling and war. They have to, that's their duty. So they have to definitely go to war. Arjuna sees the other party is blind of effect of his challenge. He knowing the evil consequences, he doesn't want to fight. That's a message which is conveyed there. So in Varnashrama Dharma, I just told you, the elders, when they are actually lost, they'll die on the battlefield. Now, all the purificatory processes, from birth to death, they'll be responsible for it. The death of elder will stop purification process. The young members will become irreligious. They need guidance, youngsters in the house, they need to be led properly, guided properly by the elders. If the elders, you can see many houses where elders are not there, what happens to the condition of the youngsters? It's very pathetic. They lose chance for spiritual salvation. Ultimately, see, all what is important is we have to not live and just eat and live and grow and then die. That's not our purpose. We have to have salvation. We have to actually get liberated. Spiritual advancement is very essential. So, and for that, none of these things is going to help, Arjuna says. So what happens is destruction of dynasty. The whole dynasty will be destroyed. Traditions are all vanquished. They go berserk. Family involved in religion. Whole family will be actually in religion. So these are 16 samaskaras in Manusmriti. I think we all know, actually, starting from, Garbhadhana before the conception, then Pumsavanam, 3rd month, then Srimantam, Jata Karmam, Namakarana, then you have Nishkramamam, that is taking child first out of the house. Namakarana is naming ceremony. Annaprashana, for first time feeding the child solid food. Then Chuda Karanam, that is you have to cut the hair. Then Karna Vedam, actually Chedam, they say, you have to pierce the ear. Then Vidyarambham, start the education for the first time. Upanayanam, it is become Dvija, it becomes a Dvija there. The sacred thread is actually, he's made to wear the sacred thread, the boy. Of course, in the Vedic period, even the girls had this, but later, for some reason, it got, it didn't happen later. So, Prashartham, before and after each year of study, you have to do some ritual. Then Keshantam for the boy, first shave, Ritu Shuddhi, girl, all that, for the girl. Then Samavartanam, end of the student life, Vivaham, marriage. Then Antyeshti, Antim, Samskara, light sets. What has happened? We are coming to the end of the session. Arjuna sees destruction in family and in society. Varnashrama system for peace, prosperity, and spiritual progress in life. Very important, very important. The failure of this, what will happen is, so elders in the family, they're so important. This has been already talked earlier. The death of elder will stop purification process. Young members will become irreligious, lose chance for spiritual salvation. Actually, repetition has been just did that. Then children, women get actually very badly affected. They are that happens. So ancestors not delivered, they just fall down. When the rituals are not performed properly, they don't get salvation. Then hellish traditions will set in, give rise to unwanted progeny because the woman gets wailed. Then the family is completely destroyed. Now, who destroyed family tradition comes to all the fingers will point to the unfortunate woman only. It's really unfortunate. The risk of, ultimately what happens is, there'll be a risk of war and pestilence. In the past times, we were told, we were asked to, after eating, you should wash your hands. When you're coming out, you wash your feet. What our grannies and told us was, if you don't do things properly, don't eat and wash your hands. And if all the, what you're eaten is there in the hand still, then, this animal will come, that animal will come, it will do something just to fear us. But, what they felt was some pestilence, that some sort of epidemic may break when there are such irregularities happening. So women, and then when that happens, of course, we see that there are, when religion prominent in society, in the family, women become polluted. Why I explained in the earlier session, little while ago, they get contaminated, then give rise to unwanted progeny, and then this leads to, the ultimate effect is risk of war and pestilence. Okay. Now the irresponsible leader. Now, obviously, if the Varna is completely spoiled, then the community is led by all unscrupulous leaders. Now they will create chaos in the society by destroying Sanatana Dharma. It is completely, what is Sanatana Dharma? Varnashrama Dharma is called as Sanatana Dharma. Today we didn't have much time for interaction, I'm sorry. I couldn't ask you many questions, but I wish I had time for doing that. Probably it will be difficult with this, constraint of time. Let's hope we are able to do better in the following sessions. Degradation of society will happen this way. So same thing again, I wanted, but no need to go into this. Now 44 to 46. Now killing of Duryodhana by desire to enjoy real royal happiness. So if he wants to, where is the royal happiness? With all this, supposing he becomes the king, what is the use? Whom is he going to rule over? Dead bodies. He asks, I don't want to want such a kingdom and being some kingship, So killing relatives, he doesn't want that at all. So Arjuna, fearful of sinful reaction. That is his fear, one thing. Then better to die in the battlefield unarmed. He said, I have nothing with me right now, Krishna. Let them kill me. Okay. Then Arjuna's soft-heartedness, being a devotee. He's all the reason in the first chapter, it shows the character of Arjuna as a pure devotee, as a pure human being, as a wonderful human being, and with features far excellent compared to the Kauravas. So that is the reason why he has doubts. See, if a person has no doubts, he'll just go and say, come on, let's fight and finish it off. He's thinking so much. He's overthinking, actually. Though it is very, it's actually right that he has to fight there now. He thinks a lot to save his people and save the whole calamity of war. Okay? Arjuna, overwhelmed with grief, cast aside his bow and arrow and sat down in the chariot. This is what actually happens at the end of the whole section. Then saintly qualities of Arjuna, soft-heartedness, does not want to kill in exchange for the 3 worlds. All these will be very important from quiz point of view. Please do study. Ready to forgive any aggressor. He says, I don't want to punish any one of them. Considers evil consequences even at the risk of refusing obligation to fight. He does, let anything happen to me, I don't mind, but I don't want to fight. Conscious of obligations to protect family traditions and morals, wants to uphold them. He wants to protect them. He does not think that I am transcendental and I have no obligations. Actually, he is transcendental. All of us are, and that will come in the next chapter. They're all the inner manifestations of the inner potency of the Lord. So a lot of revelations are going to happen. Spiritual revelations are to follow in the second chapter, when I think Arjuna's mind will become clearer and clearer as we progress. Ready to be killed unarmed. Custom, according to Kshatriya, fighting principles, unarmed and unwilling, foe should not be attacked. That is a rule, but he says it doesn't matter. Let them disobey all the rules and kill me. I don't mind. These symptoms are due to soft-heartedness resulting from being a great devotee. Now kept his bow down. Let's say end of it. What happens? The conclusion: such a kind and soft-hearted person is fit to receive self-knowledge, transcendental knowledge. That is why Krishna proceeds with giving him actually the knowledge as we go ahead in Bhagavad Gita. That's the thing. In the summary of, Arjuna's reasons are given here: compassion, then no enjoyment, destruction of family, insaneliness and fear of sinful reactions, and indecision. It is totally confusion. He's bewildered. He doesn't know what to do. That's the situation of the summary of Arjuna's reasons. In summary of the whole chapter is here. Again, the same thing. I think we can just skip this. Again, compassion for all the people, his own people on both the sides, not only one side, and no enjoyment at all by killing his people. The whole family gets destroyed, then saintliness and decision. Same, we are coming to the same thing. So this is the end of our chapter, Bhagavad Gita, first chapter. Hare Krishna. I think I rushed through. I'm sorry if you can ask me questions now, because if I've been not understood, if I was not understood in certain sections, you may ask me the questions. Now the session is open for discussion. Now I just say my, before closing the recording, I'll just say my last prayer and close the recording. Then the session is open for discussion. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anant Koti Vaishnav Vrind ke jai, Bhakta Vrind ke jai, Srila Prabhupada ke jai, Hare Krishna, all of you
Hare
devotees.
Krishna,
Hare Krishna Mata.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Mataji.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Can we make the
Hare
rules?
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, all of you. Thank you very much for the patience you have shown in tolerating me so long.